Courtney, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Erik. Thanks for
It's so
having
good to
me.
see you. Yeah.
It's good to see you too. Very good to see you too. It's been a while.
Um, and for those we were chatting just before this, but for those who are listening and can't see, I'm very sorry. But for those who are watching, your sweatshirt is amazing.
Yeah.
Claremont, I
Claremont,
love it.
Stacks and Athena's. Claremont, McKenna.
I'm so excited to talk to you today. I remember actually our freshman year us bonding because we were both from the East Coast. Something I'm very
Mhm.
proud of today. We're both back on the East Coast.
Yep.
Maybe I'd love just for us to take like the way back machine. How did you even find out about Claremont and what brought you to CMC?
It's a great question. I don't think they have these anymore, but they're college books. And
Oh my
my
God. Yeah.
mom went to our local bookstore, RJ Julia's, right in Madison, Connecticut, and took out a college book. And she was looking through. She'd actually gone to college in Florida from Connecticut, so was familiar with kind of going out of state and traveling and expanding your horizons. And she came across Pomona College.
Oh wow.
We went and visited Pomona, Whittier, but when I was looking at Pomona, and Pepperdine,
Yeah.
all the California ones, and I went to Pomona, and I'm in my typical Connecticut attire, Lily Pulitzer, with a sweater around my neck,
And again,
and
for those who can't see, you're wearing pearls right now
I'm
as
wearing
well, which I
pearls.
love. Exactly. Yeah.
Always gonna be repping the Connecticut pearls.
Yeah.
And I was that day visiting Pomona, and someone behind me, going in a line to going into the dining hall, goes, where she thinks she is, a yacht club. And 16-year-old Courtney was so sad, so
Yeah.
upset. How could you not appreciate Lily Pulitzer? And I looked at my mom and dad. I was like, college.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they suggested looking at Claremont, McKenna, and that feeling that people describe when you step on a campus and you're just right at home. It feels, that special feeling.
Yeah.
As soon as I stepped out of campus, I got that special feeling, and
Yeah.
yeah, I loved it. I knew it was my place.
Yeah. I had that feeling too. I mean, Claremont, it's interesting because I mean, I think maybe especially because we're both East Coasters, I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
warm out, you know, and
Yes.
everyone was so friendly and also so smart. And it was like, this is a great school. And it was like, oh, I'm 100% coming here, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
I loved it.
Um,
The friendly part. I mean, we're the happiest. We always are ranked the happiest
that's right.
college, and I loved how inclusive the campus is.
Yeah.
Everyone is just so friendly with each other, and there weren't any cliques really. It
No.
was just everyone is so inclusive, and I thought that was a really special part of going and being at CMC.
I totally agree. My favorite example of that is, and people who like friends of mine that didn't go to Claremont make fun of me for this, but do you remember the party informs?
Oh yes,
So,
I look forward to those.
so I was like, and I like once said this like very
Oh,
like,
I
I don't want
forgot
to say
about
stream of
that.
consciousness, but like
Yeah,
very, matter of factly, like, oh yeah, like the whole school got the party inform on
yeah,
Thursday night and it just told the whole school where the parties were going to be the whole weekend.
I
And
forgot
I was like, wait,
about
what?
that.
Like there
Yeah,
was someone who sent out an email to let everyone know where every party was going to be
yeah,
so you could choose which one you wanted to go to and it wasn't like gate kept by some frat or
right.
sorority. Yeah.
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 That's so funny because now I realize the uniqueness of that, but at
Yeah.
the point in time, I was like, "Okay, well,
Oh, of course.
where is it?
Right, right.
I can
Ryan
watch."
first, yo hey.
Yeah, come
Where's my
on.
email?
Brian and Yohei, get with the program.
Exactly.
I look
Exactly.
forward to those Brian and Yohei
Oh,
emails
totally.
very, very much.
Totally. That was also, I guess, like a really hard job for them because, like,
Yeah.
you have to be funny and creative, and you're sending an email out to the whole school every Wednesday or Thursday, and like people
Yeah,
look forward to it. So your writing
yeah,
better be good and like
right.
engaging. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like I was so much less inhibited, and less worried about being judged about what I was putting down on paper. And
For
I mean, think
sure.
about Facebook status updates.
Oh my God. Totally.
Yeah. So, Oh.
Well, we were also like, I think we were the first class our freshman year of college. They allowed seniors, or I guess high schoolers, to be on Facebook. But like,
Mhm.
I remember not having a .edu email address until
Yeah,
August of our freshman year. And
right.
so all my friends who had already gotten their email addresses were on Facebook. And I was like, I'm not on yet.
You're just on
Yeah.
MySpace with your friend Tom.
Right. Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
my
Okay.
god.
So we're going to
Yes.
come back to the Claremont era, but I'd love to hear what you've been up to since graduation.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's almost 15 or it's 15 years.
Yeah.
That went by fast.
Yeah.
So in my heart of hearts, I still feel like I'm 20, 21. So
Totally.
I guess that will
Totally.
never go away, which is I guess good. But yeah, since graduation, I'm still at the same company. I started out at Aon in our LA office as a employee benefits specialist or analyst. I forgot exactly the title, but consulting on employer sponsored health plans. And um, from LA, moved down to San Diego. And now am in Connecticut, and weather's not as good for
Yeah.
didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And have married with 2 kids, 2
Amazing.
dogs. Yeah, so living the
Um,
dream.
okay, so let's so this is awesome. I think that one of the reasons, or like something that like stood out to me and
Yeah.
doing my LinkedIn research, let's say, on you, is you've been with Aon for almost 15 years. You've been with Aon the entire time post graduation,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Did you ever
Yeah.
think when you started the job you would be there as long as you have been?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. We talked about Claremont, and what drew us to Claremont was friendliness,
Yeah.
inclusivity, and just kind of this feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Aon as
Oh, that's
well.
amazing.
It's a huge firm, but I feel like the culture there, much like Claremont, is so it really values working together,
Mm,
um, and partnering together, and that's kind of why I've stayed here for so long.
yeah.
And it does pride itself on entrepreneurship, which is so embedded in Claremont's DNA. And
Mhm.
so I've been able to kind of do some things that I'm passionate about, and it's just yeah, it just
That's
really has
awesome.
put me at the firm.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
So you were out of their San Diego office after graduation. How long were you in San Diego?
I think that was like 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was 4 years there.
And you met your
Mhm.
husband in San Diego?
Yeah,
What is his name and how did you meet?
his name's Rich de Beaucourt.
Love that.
Now I'm Courtney de Beaucourt, which is
Love
funny
that.
because Court de Beaucourt. I mean, it's meant to be. Yeah. So, but yeah, I met him day one. It was so
You're
wild.
kidding.
So, yeah,
Wait, you met him
next door
day
neighbor.
1 of living in San Diego?
Yeah, next door
Wait,
neighbor.
you have to share the story.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually it is kind of funny. So, drove down from LA, was all tears. I was leaving my best friend. I think you met her, Gigi.
Oh, I love Gigi.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
was living with Gigi. We were best friends. We called our place the Lily Pad. And all my, our Claremont friends were all in LA. So I was so sad. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I drive down, all tears, and um I park and like Rich was he was in the Marines, and like all his Marine guy friends were right moving into or living in his apartment while I'm moving, and I'm like, there's all these dancing men.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
immediately drawn to that guy, to Rich, and he like offered to help me move, and I had one of my guy friends come over to help me move. I've been friends with him all through middle school, high school, and he was like, "Oh, if you and your girlfriend talking to my guy friend need help moving," I was like, "He's not my boyfriend."
That's so
Like, just
funny.
no chill at all. It was so embarrassing, but I, like, had to make sure that I
Yeah.
clarified it wasn't my boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he was like, "Okay, cool. If you need
That
help, let me
is
know."
so funny.
So, yeah, that was day 1, and then, yeah, we just have been Together ever since.
Wow,
You guys
that's
gotta
like
tell me how you met
out of a rom-com.
Lindsay, right? Your girlfriend Lindsay?
I met Lindsay. Yes, Lindsay is my girlfriend, and maybe by this time this comes out, that status will have changed, but we'll see. In a positive way, I should be clear.
Yes, yes.
Um, I met Lindsay actually on Hinge is the short
Okay,
story.
yeah.
It's actually is a Claremont story for what it's worth.
Ooh,
So
I love that.
you obviously know Doug Fagan, my roommate
Of
from
course.
Claremont. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Love Doug.
Love Doug.
Doug's best friend from high school
Uh-huh.
is this guy, Phil Hazlitt, who I adore. And I've
Okay.
really become close with a lot of Doug's friends from high school,
Yeah.
and like adore them.
Oh,
And I became friends with Phil in New York, and
okay.
Phil's wife's name is Xana, and
Okay.
she's lovely, and I adore her too. Pause there for 1 second.
Okay.
You remember Isaiah Tedros?
Yeah, of course.
Another one of my best friends from Claremont.
Yeah.
Um, I like Doug. I'm friends with Isaiah's friends from growing
Okay.
up, and
Love
his
that.
best friend is this guy named Neil.
Okay.
And Isaiah is now an actor, by the way, and
Oh my
was
gosh,
was
that's so
filming something
cool.
in Boston. And I
Uh-huh.
was living in New York, and I was like, "Hey, man, you should come down to New York, like kick it with me for
Yeah.
a weekend, whatever." So he does, and he is like, "Hey, do you mind if I text Neil? Neil lives in New York,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Of course, have Neil come over."
Yeah.
So Neil comes over and he says we're catching up, whatever, and he says that he just got into Wharton, and I graduated Wharton maybe a year
Right.
or two prior, I forget, and I said, "Do you know anyone?" And he says, "I know this girl named Xana," and I'm like, "Wait a second, you know?" And I like had a hard time. Only Claremont people will understand that like the world
Yeah.
is so unbelievably small, but they knew each other, and then I got a, and then whatever. And I'm telling
Yeah.
Neil and I are talking about dating in New York, or whatever. And Neil sends me a text the next day that says, "Hey, like Xana and I chatted or something.
Yeah.
And we know a girl we think would be perfect for you.
Okay.
Her name's Lindsay. Here's her phone number. You should, say hi."
Yeah.
I was actually going on a work trip that was making me travel for a month, like the next day. So I
Okay.
don't text Lindsay because I think it's very hard to keep up a conversation with someone you've
Oh,
never
yeah.
met for a month in like a
Yes.
dating
Yeah,
thing,
especially
right?
when you're
Yeah,
on a work trip. That's distracting.
right.
Yeah.
So I go away for a month and I come back and I go on like Hinge,
Yeah.
like my first or second day back.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like yes, no, I forget
Right,
what
right.
right and left are. Um and I swipe on this girl that I think is very pretty,
Yeah.
and her name pops up, and it's Lindsay Blitzstein, the girl who Neil gave me her phone number.
Oh my goodness.
And I kid you not, um, we messaged right away, and
Yeah.
then we met for drinks that night, and the rest is history.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know,
I feel like
crazy.
having
So
that soft connection too is
totally,
just
it would not have happened were it
oh,
not for Doug and then Phil and Xana, nor
that's
Isaiah and then Neil.
great.
So shout out to them
Oh,
all for
I
making it
love
happen.
that.
Yeah,
Matchmakers.
totally,
Oh,
exactly.
that's really cool. The world is truly so small, and I feel like it's really cool having our high school and college and work lives all kind of meld,
Yes, I
and seeing
know.
everyone kind of integrate. Like, my best friend from high school, Gigi,
Right, I
like,
mean, I've, like,
that's
met Gigi. In fact, I have
yeah.
this, like,
Oh,
distinct
I know Gigi.
memory. What's
Yeah.
sorry?
You're like, "Oh, I know Gigi." And
Of course
even
I know
oh,
Gigi.
this is
Yeah.
wild. So Carmen Rosa and Rich's best friend from the Marines are married.
Oh my gosh.
That's how
That's
yeah.
crazy. Did
So
did
she
you
was visiting me, and then
Oh my
that's how
god, no way.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So it's just crazy. I
There
love
have
it.
been
Oh,
other guests that I've had on this
yeah,
podcast who have brought up the same stuff. And I love that, like, I love that the Claremont community is so small that everyone knows each other, that there's this, like,
yeah,
high degree of trust where it's like, "Oh, if you're hanging out with this person, you're just a good person."
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
You're in. You're
You
in.
know?
Exactly.
Um,
So
I
nice.
love that. So
Yeah.
you're now back on the East Coast,
Back on the East Coast.
married,
Yep. Yep.
kids,
2 boys, and
2
they're
boys.
crazy. Yes, they keep
How
me
old are they?
on my toes. 1.5 and 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 is like a mini like adult, right? Like they have
Yeah.
opinions, they know what
Yes.
they like.
Yeah, they date tags in the back of their shirts. I can tell you that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're really fun. Two boys, and I said, and they're starting to really interact, and
Yeah.
the 1.5-year-old is starting to talk, and the
Wow.
3-year-old talks. So it's really beautiful to see them play and wrestle and be little animals.
Totally.
They're so sweet.
Totally.
Yeah.
Um, I uh I feel like also at the 1.5 and 3 is like
Yeah.
when true friendship probably starts. Cause like before a baby's like 1, they're really just too young to,
Right.
and now it might be like, okay, we can crawl together.
Oh my
And like
gosh.
that's where the key bonding happens.
Yeah, it's really sweet. They
How
like to
do they get
sword
along
fight
well?
together. Oh yeah, there's sword fighting, pirates are their thing right now,
I
playing witch
love
huts
that.
together. Um, yeah, it's really sweet, and, like, the Henry is my oldest, and then Will is my youngest, so Henry will always be like, "Where'd baby Will go? Where'd baby Will
Aw.
go? I wanna play with baby Will. Let's go wake up baby Will," and then Will calls Henry Yaya.
Oh my
So,
God, that's amazing.
it's very
That's
cute.
so
Yeah.
adorable. That is so adorable. And
Where's Yaya? Where's Yaya?
it also must be nice because I assume your parents are nearby?
Yeah, less than 2 miles down the street.
Oh my God. So can
Very
hang out with the grandparents a ton. That's so
maybe
amazing.
it's very sweet. Yeah.
That's really sweet. That's
Mimi
really
just
sweet.
put on a, bunny rabbit tea for Easter for them.
Aw,
Yeah, and she
that's
laid out,
adorable.
all the carrots at the sprouts on the end,
Yeah.
and they both ate them, like, the raw carrots, like Bugs Bunny. It was
Oh my
so
God,
funny.
that's so
Yeah.
adorable. That
We
is
had a
so
blast. So,
adorable.
yeah, it's really fun to have them so close, and
That's so
your
fun.
parents get to Boston often from Philly?
My parents have come up to visit once, but that's also
Okay.
been a function of like, and that's, I've only been here a year and a half. And I actually just
Yeah.
had a conversation with my dad yesterday being like, you guys should come up to Boston. But it
Yeah.
was a little bit of a function of like, work being kind of intense during the
Yep.
work week. And then, I mean, as I'm sure you can appreciate, it's like wedding season every
Um,
season, it feels. I feel that with COVID, there was no weddings for at least a
yeah.
year and a half, and that
Yep.
like made a powder keg of like, now, there were
Yes.
like, we had 10 weddings the first year of everything being open, and we're still like dealing with some laggards, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so I haven't been around. It's actually not a function of my parents. It's like a me problem that they haven't come up as much. But I'll tell you what, it's nice. It is nice being on the East Coast as
Yeah.
opposed to a 6-hour flight across 3 time zones, a
Oh,
red
yeah.
eye to like spend 48 hours with my parents.
Oh my gosh. Exactly. And
Yeah.
even in California to the East Coast, that 3-hour time difference is
Huge.
pretty significant. Yeah. It
Yeah.
makes it a little all that much more difficult to get aligned with schedules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very hard. I'm very grateful to be in the same time zone as them. It means that
Yeah.
like I can realistically call them after a work day or after
Yeah.
dinner at like 8 p.m. and they're
Yes.
going to be up as
Yeah.
opposed to, 8 and 11. And it's like, this doesn't work one bit,
Yep.
you know?
And in the mornings on your commute or something. Yes. It's
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Is Rich from the East Coast? Where is he from?
Yeah, Massachusetts.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, no
So,
way.
yeah. Pepperell, Mass. How about
Oh,
Lindsay?
love that. So the whole family is nearby.
Yeah, yeah, whole family's nearby. Well, his mom's in Florida, so
Okay.
yeah,
Good
so
for her.
East Coast. Yeah, I know. Warm weather. We like warm
Warm
weather.
weather, exactly. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But everyone pretty much is on the East Coast. So it makes family living really nice. So
Yeah,
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Um, well, I want to also then come
uh-huh.
back and ask you some of your favorite things about Claremont.
Oh, I like it.
Can I ask you your favorite CMC class?
Um, my favorite CNC class would have had to have been I really liked I forget the exact name. But it was with remember it was with Professor Appel. I
Okay.
think it was the history of world governance or
Okay.
something. He thought it was really interesting because she went through all different governments and their structure and how they interact and kind of the succession of leaders.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just, sorry,
Oh, that's a dog
doggy.
in the background. I love that.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting and just great foundational knowledge for how world different governments around the world work.
Yeah.
Um, and just kind of their historical interaction. And yeah, I thought I learned a lot.
That's
I
great.
think Professor Yuli's class, uh, it was his international studies. It was a very broad topic, but he taught me how to write really well.
Mm.
And I loved his compassion for the subject.
Mm.
Yeah, I
He was one of those. I feel like we were really lucky to go to Claremont when we did for a lot of reasons. But
uh,
one of them is that there were these professors who had been there for a long time
yeah,
and were still going to be there for another 10 years or something, right? Or 5 to 10 years, where
yeah,
like you can look at generations behind you who had Haley and later generations who had Haley, right? And like
yeah,
he was just one of those titans who like did so much for the student body, you
yeah,
know? Yeah.
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 He was great. I really liked his class and just his teaching style. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
good.
great. So I was going to ask you your favorite professor, but I assume it's Haley
I think it's a tie between Professor Apple
and Professor Haley. We,
and
we allow
Haley.
ties here on the show.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I really one of the Professor the Peller Apple. I always say it wrong, but one of her classes we got to sit outside and just have conversation around what we
Mm,
read, and I thought that was so good, essential Claremont because it's just
yeah.
talking um about what you've read and kind of your opinion and interpretation of it. And I think that's what makes Claremont so special. Like even at our parties, we're talking about the presidential election. We're talking
Totally.
about opinions on. We're so political in a very non bipartisan or polarized
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more of that is needed in the world.
Totally. Totally.
Understanding other sides and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
I I feel like I totally agree with you. You could have a heated conversation in the classroom or even at a party, and it was never personal. And it was
yeah,
always like I always felt like people were actually trying to learn the other side.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and it was just so special. I agree with you. There's not nearly enough of that in the world,
yeah.
and thank God then for Claremont to provide a much needed injection for
I
that.
know, I
Yeah.
know. I think it's very special, and it's
Yes.
I think how people should be educated truly to really
Totally.
understand if this other side is so um set not set in our ways that's so stands by so much their opinion or interpretation of one thing. It's good to understand why they think that way and
Right.
healthy dialogue, not in the with the goal of changing their mind, but with the goal of understanding and being more educated on both sides and having
Totally.
dialogue that's not contentious or
Right.
yeah,
Right.
polarizing. So
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. Um Tell me about your favorite CMC party.
pirate party. Yeah.
You
Which
are
maybe that's why
everyone.
my kids pirate so much. It's so funny. I didn't even make
that
that connection. Yeah, that was my favorite for sure.
that's amazing. What did
Yeah.
you like about it?
The bounce houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another like Claremont staple. Was it like every party had a bouncy castle basically?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I have this great memory of I was riding high Pink Beach Cruiser with the streamers from the apartments to Papa Lab to finish my thesis or something. And I am riding by Green Beach and I see Ruben
Oh my
in
god.
a giant inflatable hamster ball
Yeah.
just crossing Green Beach fields. And I'm like, wow, this is a great school. Like
Totally.
this is awesome. I'm in the sun
Totally.
and I'm living on my friend just in a giant hamster ball, living his
Totally.
life.
Totally.
We're just having fun and
Totally. I
yeah,
I
learning.
remember like our freshman year first semester. This is like a
Yeah.
distinct memory for
Yeah.
me. Freshman year first semester, and I remember it was December 5th. Don't ask me why I know it was December
Uh-huh.
5th, but it was probably like 80 degrees.
Okay.
It was probably like a Friday or Saturday,
Yeah.
and everyone was at Scripps Pool. And there wasn't a party. It was just
Yeah.
80 degrees, and everyone went to the pool to get
Oh
some
my gosh.
sun and to cool
Yes.
off. And I
School.
remember thinking to myself, like, this place is heaven,
Yeah.
heaven. And like, back
All
then
the
everyone's like,
mosaics and the waterfalls and
oh
the
my God,
beach and
exactly, exactly, exactly.
palm
And you're
trees
just like,
everywhere. Oh
and
my
I would
gosh.
talk to my high school friends, God bless them, who made the horrible choice of going to a school in the Northeast. And you're like, and they're freezing, and you're like, oh, that's nice. I got a tan. I'm gonna see you at
Yeah.
Christmas, and I got a
Actually a little
tan.
sunburned. I'm actually trying to go to the
Exactly,
pool. It's too hot.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
funny. Oh man.
um, okay, favorite memory.
Um, it it's a silly one, but I love it. Jocelyn and I driving in our
Shout out
car,
Jocelyn.
my bestie, 4 years
Yeah, I
roommates.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, which is also rare for college.
yeah, very rare.
And we got randomly put together by the CNC admission. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
And we were driving in Jocelyn's car to go get Silver Spoons, our frozen yogurt treat, and
Mm,
just for scream singing in our car, just as loud as we could.
I
That
love
was,
that.
yeah, that was a good memory.
I also love Jocelyn, obviously.
She's so
We have to pause for like 1 second.
yeah.
So, because you were 4-year roommates,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
remember meeting her?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell me about that. Like meeting her for the
Um,
first time.
yeah, it was move-in day and she was with her parents, I was with mine, and she was from California, which was, so unique to me from Connecticut. And she was welcoming and warm. I remember laying out our bed sheet, like our bed set up, and um hers was like I think purple and California vibe, and mine was like green seersucker and pink and like
That's
Connecticut.
amazing.
Yeah. And we were talking about decorating um our room, and we had the corner one in
Yes, I
Philip.
remember. In
And it's
Phillips.
supposed to be a triple. I think it's a triple now.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And it was huge. It had 2 windows, just such a nice room. And we could do cartwheels in it. And I remember us getting so excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, no, we were just excited to be roommates.
Yeah.
And we had a blast.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah. I remember you guys
Who
were
was
in
your
like
freshman roommate?
Doug Fagan.
Was he a roommate all 4 years too?
He was a roommate all 3 years, and he will bring this
Okay.
up. He will bring this up, I'm sure, if he listens to this, and I feel
Oh.
bad about that to this day. But no, we text every day, so we're
Aw.
incredibly close still. He's like a
Yeah,
brother to me. I love him. But like the freshman year roommate thing really matters,
it
and
does.
again, to like Claremont's credit, there's so many people I know who are still close with their freshman year roommate or still in
Yeah.
touch. And it's just like,
Yeah.
again, and I know it was Dean Castro just like randomly would put people together. I'd
Right.
love to know his formula, because
I know.
whatever he did was like
Yeah.
really onto something,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
matchmaker.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, speaking of Jocelyn, who do you
Yeah.
keep in touch with still? And who would you like to give a shout out to?
Yeah. Definitely Joss, Katie, Erica, Jenny.
Love that. These are the
Yeah,
Phillips girls, really.
the Phillips girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nina, we talk a little bit,
Yeah.
Crystal, Kylie. I'm sure I'm missing obvious people right now.
I know. Well, you know what?
I
For
saw
all,
Callie Snively from she was
oh,
over
no
in
way. Oh,
Cronin.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So we have a group text with Katie, Erica, Jenny, Jocelyn, and myself. So we talk all the time.
I love that.
Five times sexy corner is what we called it in college, and it has
I
continued.
love
Which is
that. I love
silly,
that.
but yeah.
Will you tell Phi Town Sexy Corner that I say hello?
I will.
Perfect.
I'll
I love
text
that.
her.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. So funny.
Um,
Cringy things that we came up with in
you
college.
know, it was 2005. It was a different time.
Yeah.
We all have these things that we look back and cringe upon, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
well then keeping sort of on pace with the who do you keep in touch with, seeing as this is something of a digital reunion of sorts. Um, finish this sentence for me, and I'm hoping people actually reach out to you to talk about whatever you mentioned. But finish this sentence. Someone should slide into my DMs to chat about
Um, Working mom life
working
and
mom
how
life.
to balance it or
Yeah,
what not to do.
I love
So
this.
yeah, I think that's I'm pretty passionate about making sure that you are able to maintain a good work-life balance, especially as a mom. And it's not easy, but it's if you can do it, I mean, it's free. So
Yeah.
yeah.
On a quick side note, um, I log into Facebook very rarely these days, as I'm sure we all do. But truthfully, like one of
Yeah.
the really nice things that I've seen are people like you, other people in
Uh-huh.
our class who post working mom life stuff, like
Oh
taking their
yeah.
kids out on an Easter egg hunt or
Yeah.
like Halloween costumes. And like, you know, I'm actually grateful. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm so grateful for everyone in CMC'09 to be in my life, but I actually feel really grateful that people post, pictures of their kids in their life. And it's like great
Yeah.
to see people doing well. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that
Oh.
the thing that people should slide into your DMs about are about working mom life.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, just being happy, I guess, is
Yeah,
like trying to live life and sometimes it's just a survival mode, but it's
totally. Totally.
yeah.
Well, Court, this was lovely.
It was
Thank
really
you
good
so much for
talking to
making
you,
the
Eric.
time.
This was so much
People should
fun.
slide into your M's to talk about working mom life.
Yeah, or anything, I
Um,
don't care, anything you wanna talk about.
totally, totally. Um,
Yeah.
I hope to see you in Boston sometime. If not,
Oh,
maybe I'll stop by Connecticut on my way down to New York sometime.
yes,
Would be
definitely.
great to see you, and this was
We'll
lovely.
go to
Thanks
the
so much for
beach.
making the time.
It's not a California beach, but Connecticut beaches
Right,
are lovely too.
right, right. Thanks so much,
Awesome.
Courtney.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Bye.